guys? CJ Abdullah here from Abdullah Training Systems, ATSstrength.com. I want to talk a little bit today about the barbell deadlift. I see a lot of guys in their high school weight rooms using this exercise, and I think that's great. The deadlift is definitely one of the biggest keys to overall strength and physical preparedness, but I see a lot of guys butchering their deadlift technique, so I want to go over the top 3 things I see when guys are deadlifting. Number 1, I see a lot of guys who get into position and their feet are underneath them, either too narrow if they're pulling conventional or too wide pulling sumo. So I want to clear up that controversy right now. For the conventional deadlift, we want our feet directly underneath our hips, pretty much in a straight line. Then from here, we want to make sure we drop our butt low, pick our chest up tall. The number 1 key for any of the big barbell movements is always to keep your chest up. That's for the bench, squat, and the deadlift. You always want to keep your chest up and high, whether it's a bench press, a squat, or a deadlift. So always make sure we keep the chest up. So again, for the conventional deadlift, we want our feet right underneath hip width. For the sumo deadlift, now this is going to be a little bit different per person, but I like to start, guys, right on the break and the knurling here. So right where that knurling breaks and we have a smooth line, I like to start guys' shins right there on the sumo. Guys that are shorter guys don't want to be out toes to the plates. This is a little bit too wide for us to generate good force. Puts us in a bad position, okay? So start at the break and the knurling for the sumo deadlift, okay? So that's number 1. That's stance width. Number 2 thing I see, and probably the most important, is we get guys who pull and they get really round when they pull. Even when they set up, they're round in their back. So if I can show you from the side so you can see what this looks like. Rather than being nice and flat back, they're very round when they start off. And I think this gets mixed up because a lot of people see professional powerlifters and powerlifters at a very high level and they look somewhat round because that's an advanced technique to shorten their range of motion and they're actually rounding their upper back, but really they're still keeping that lower back in a good stable position, whereas I just see athletes, young athletes, get round the whole way. What this is doing is it's putting a lot of stress on our discs and our lower back. And that's why we have a lot of guys with low back pain and so much degenerative problems with their lower back. So we want to make sure when we're getting set up for the deadlift, I see a lot of guys using conventional, so I'm just kind of going back to that. When we get set up, we're going to drop our butt nice and low. Make sure we pull their shoulders back and take the slack out of the bar. That's going to allow us to do a good pull and stay in a safe position, okay? And then the number 3 thing I see with the deadlift is guys misusing it or misprogramming it. So what I see a lot in a high school weight room is that guys go in and maybe deadlift every single week as heavy as they can. Here's the thing with going in every single week and beating yourself up with the deadlift. The deadlift is a very hard lift to recover from, so it does take some time to recover in between sessions, and always pulling heavy every single week is going to, at some point, especially for a young athlete, do more harm than good. When we think about the deadlift and deadlifting heavy, we've got to make sure we have adequate time to rest in between deadlift sessions A and B. We don't always want to test our strength. We want to be able to build strength. Our goal as an athlete should always be to make our performance on the field, court, or rink, mat, whatever it may be, better, not our weight room numbers. Weight room heroes don't do too much on the field, okay? We want to make sure we improve that performance. The best way to do that is to hit the weights hard. Yes, this is a very important part of it. But B, make sure we get adequate rest and we're paying attention to all the other things that go into making up our sport and making us a great athlete, okay, guys? So when we're going at the deadlift, let's make sure we pull heavy every now. We do want to pull heavy every now and again, but we don't want to do it every single week. We don't want to test our strength every week. We want to build our strength. So things I like for the deadlift are heavy triples with a dead stop and also pulling different deadlift variations. So if you're an athlete, you don't have to be necessarily only good at pulling the deadlift off the floor. Like a competitive powerlifter, his main goal is to pull heavy weights off the floor, okay? So he's going to train you for that. But things that are beneficial for athletes are things like rack pulls, block pulls, where we shorten that range of motion, kind of shorten how long we have to be in the gym, shorten not only that, but also how long we have to recover from it, A, and B, we still get a good carryover to strength from those types of movements, okay guys? So, there you have it, the top 3 mistakes I see in athletes deadlifting, okay? Tune in to ATSstrength.com/blog and go there, sign up for our newsletter on the sidebar, okay guys? All right, peace!